Round 9 was the complete opposite to round 8, really. I think this is the first time this season that I felt like everything really came together for the team. So I guess that shows how far behind I am compared to the rest of the pack, that this is the first week that I felt this way, but it's good to finally have a week like this. 2,294, top 1%, went up over 2,000 spots, up to 3,711 overall. Really good week. Defense was solid. Lloyd got the touches, but obviously his ceiling's been capped this season. You know what you're going to get from him. Very consistent, 95, 115 sort of player. But definitely wouldn't have hurt you if you didn't start him. Stewart, kinda like last week. Thought he was a tad underscored. Had a huge third quarter. I feel like he deserved at least a ton. Laird, another 120 plus score, great stuff. Haven't been able to catch the Adelaide games, but I guess Sloan coming back has helped him out big time. Another big body in the midfield, freeing him up a little bit. Short was good. Ridley, first ton since I traded him in, about time. And Highmore, to everyone's surprise, he came back. So it was nice to finally get a price rise out of him. Unfortunately though, he only got the 47. Wasn't really noticeable in the second half, so I don't know if he keeps his spot, and I'd guess he does get dropped. Murphy, I reckon he'll be back for the Port game. The good thing about Highmore coming back, not only did we finally get a price rise from him, but it meant that I could trade out Cozzy instead of Brockman. I still got rid of Warner, but instead of trading out Brockman, I traded out Cozzy. Yeah, he beat his break even, but it allowed me to get that man at M1, Jared Lyons. The ultimate pod this season. Couldn't ask for more. First game in the team. 138, best on ground. Just an unreal selection for the few that started him. McRae's scores have dropped off a bit since Dunkley got injured, but when his low scores are still tons, you really can't complain. Clary was fantastic, 140. To be honest, I don't really know how he got all the way to a 140. He had 11 clangers, and when a player has that many, you wouldn't think his SuperCoach score would be 30 more than his dream team. I didn't catch the second half, so probably some things I missed. I don't know what the quality of his possessions were. Tackles probably helped. But regardless, we absolutely take a 140. Walsh was good. Petrarca, there was a bit of talk about him potentially not playing, but he got up for the game, he tonned, which is good to see. Would like a little more out of him, but maybe he was still affected by the corky he copped against Sydney a little bit. Either way, it's fine. Brayshaw bounced back in a big way with a 126, very nice. Powell really fell back down to earth against Hawthorn, just the 45, break even, over 100 now. And Jordan's been so good. A 96, he just continues to impress, continues to make a ton of cash. And on the bench, Poulter was good with a 66. Hopefully Brockman and McRae can come back soon. Was a little disappointing that Brockman didn't get named this week, but surely he's close. Grundy and Gawn were okay. Obviously, as captain, we would have liked to have seen more from Gawn, but at least he recovered in the second half, because it wasn't looking good at halftime. And Flynn on the bench, good to see him back, and he tonned as well. And he's up to 316k now. We'll see how it goes in team selections. I assume he gets dropped, because that's how it's been all season, but if he miraculously holds his spot, I'll keep him in the team. And the forward line, Zeeble, just the 89. Don't think we'll be seeing many more of those huge tons he got earlier in the season, because his scoring's been capped by that man at F2, Aaron Hall, back-to-back 110s. He's been a revelation off half-back for North, really, providing that run and attacking flair. Very happy with Hall. Impey just the 82. Did notice him up forward during the fourth quarter. Not sure if that's something Clarko will carry over to the next game, but just something to keep an eye on. Dusty, finally. First ton since round 2. He was just so dangerous every time Richmond got the ball up forward. Kicked 4 goals and could have gotten a lot more than a 121 really. His efficiency left a fair few points on the table. And then the rookies, Scott the 57, Jones 49. To be honest, the 49 is a tad disappointing because he kicked 2 goals very early on. And McCreary just the 44. Barely made any cash, so a bit disappointing that. For trades, I have a few scenarios in mind, depending on what happens at the selection table. Obviously, whatever trade I make in this video isn't set in stone. Last week I traded in Mitchell, and I pretty much reversed it straight away and thought about it a little more. But scenario number 1 will be if Flynn gets dropped, I'm going to go Flynn and McCreary out. In will be Tracy as the loop. I know he's been fringe 22. He's played a few games, but he wasn't great. And I don't think it'll be too much of a problem if he gets games again, because there's been so many dead rookies on the bench the whole season. I'll probably have a loop for that week if he does get named. And then for McCreary, in comes Nick Hind. So one of the main reasons I reversed the Mitchell trade last week is I wanted to plan out all my upgrade targets. Like, who would I want to see in my final team? Lyons was one of them, so he came into the side instead. But if Highmore didn't come back, I would have traded in Nick Hind. And maybe I would have fared better this week actually, because I would have kept Cozzy in the process. So I would have had a 70 instead of a 47. That's plus 23. Lions, Hind, 11 point difference, minus 11. Oh, maybe I would have gotten a 2300 score. Well, there you go. But I definitely couldn't have predicted a Hind 127. Still very happy I traded in the Lions. But anyway, I would have traded in Nick Hind last week if Highmore didn't come back, so it didn't pan out that way. I'll bring him in this week. That's the plan. That leaves me with 21.8k in the bank. That's scenario number 1. Scenario 2 also involves trading in Hind, but it means I trade out Scott and Jones. Not really a fan of this scenario. I'd like to keep Scott for a bit longer. I can't put McCreary in this trade scenario because I wouldn't have enough for a rookie. The rookie I'd trade in as well, that's a weird situation. I could just go Tracy and field McCreary. If I want to bite the bullet and just do that, then I can always settle with Tracy. I'm also just short on trading in Lockie Jones, so if he does get named this week, that would be a bit awkward. Unless I decide not to bring in Hind and go with someone else. But even if I decided to settle with Bailey Dale, I wouldn't have enough. Yeah, because that leaves me at 138, that's still 1k short, so that wouldn't work either. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this trade scenario, unless I just decide, yeah, I'm going to field McCreary this week. Scenario 3 is if Murphy doesn't come back and Highmore gets dropped. I'd be at risk of copping a donut, so got to do something about that. And in this case, I'd be going Flynn down to Tracy and Powell up to Mills with Harry Sharp DPP, or I could go another defender premium around the price. I know I've said the past couple of weeks Whitfield is a target, but I've kind of cooled off on the pick. Was reading stuff on him earlier, and there was an article about him recovering from the injury, and it said he might not even fully recover until another 12 to 18 months, and that's a bit of a red flag because he plays a highly uncontested game. He's an absolutely elite runner, and if he's not at 100%, I don't know if I want to bring him into the team. I'll continue to keep an eye on him, but I've kind of cooled off on the pick. Yeah, Mills is another round 14 buy player, and one of the reasons I didn't want to bring in Stephen May was because of that, but Mills is finally that midfielder he was highly touted to be. He's got such a high ceiling. He's highest averaging defender at the moment, I think, so he's definitely someone I'd be wanting to bring in. If scenario 3 happens, then Mills will come in. Or I could try and make a scenario 4 out of this if Lucky Jones comes back. So let's test it out here. So I bring in Lucky Jones, and I wouldn't have to trade out Flynn in that case. I could probably go... How much would I have here if I went McCreary? I'd have 500, which would be enough for Hind. I could go Powell, but in this case, I'd rather keep Powell. If I went Scott and Jones, I wouldn't have enough. We went through that in scenario 2. It is a bit awkward. I might have to do something like that. We'll see how it goes come team selections. I don't really like the look of this because I don't want to get rid of Powell for this. If I'm getting rid of Powell, I do want it to be for like a big premium. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think for now I'll settle with scenario 1 because I feel like that's the most likely thing that's going to happen. That Flynn will get dropped for Mumford. Murphy comes back for someone like Wilson, I reckon. But if Jones does come in this week, then that might throw a spanner in the works, and I'll have to work around that because he's definitely one to bring in on the bubble. So we'll see, but I'll settle with scenario 1. So here it is, Flynn and McCreary out for Tracy and Hind. Leaves me with 21.8k in the bank. 14 trades left is not ideal, but we're only down to 4 rookies on field, so I think we'll be okay. We still have Powell and Jordan to upgrade, so that's fine. Unfortunately, we'll have to miss on Collier Dawkins. The cash gen situation now looks a little bit weird, especially now that I've traded out Flynn. Hopefully some of these dead rookies can come back and restart that cash flow. But we're not in the worst spot. We've still got Powell and Jordan to upgrade, Scott as well. We'll get a fair bit of cash out of Jones that we didn't think we'd get, so that will be nice. But guys like Brockman and McRae, hopefully we can see them back soon. So at this stage we have 4 rookies on field. Powell and Jordan, that's fine. Scott's not too bad. And Murphy, if he comes back, I think he'll be okay. Captains this week, I think I'll pick from 2 out of Lyons, Oliver and Grundy. Grundy's going up against Laddams, so that wouldn't be too bad as a captain choice. Lyons going up against a depleted Richmond midfield. And Oliver's going up against Adelaide, who he just got a 200 against last year. This is a tough one. Good problem to have though when you have such capable scorers, so we'll go Lions Vice. Maybe Grundy captain. Yeah, we'll do that for now. We got plenty of time to think about that. Hopefully some new rookies can show up as well, because the plan from here for me would be to build the bank for buy upgrades. We just need some new rookies and some of these current rookies to come back, because man, cash gen is quite difficult at the moment. But anyway, I think I'll end it off there. Hopefully you all had a good week. Good luck to you all for round 10, and I'll see you guys in the next video.